Hey guys, Sam here with Florida Property Advisors. Make sure you like and subscribe to this video. So I was asked not too long ago, can I rent my home and still keep my homestead exemption? So the Florida homestead tax exemption. The short answer is no, you can't. And here's why. It's only as certain people can do it. If you're in the military, you can rent your home out and still keep the homestead exemption. But if you're a primary resident and you're not in the military and you're looking to rent your home and still keep your homestead tax exemption, you're in for a rude awakening because you will lose your tax exemption and you may even suffer some consequences and pay fines and possibly a lien. So here's why you can't do it. The Florida homestead tax exemption is an exemption that can reduce the taxable amount of your home's value by as much as $50,000. So for the first $50,000 of your home's assessed value, the first $25,000 is exempted. So if your home's worth $50,000, you don't pay taxes on the first $25,000. So these taxes refer to the property taxes and the school district taxes, which are exempt. Now, these rules apply if you're using your home as your primary residence and you're living in the property. If you're living in the property and it's your primary residence, then you can qualify for a homestead tax exemption. Now, here's where it gets a little tricky, because you have some homeowners that want to rent out their property, and we live in Florida, so it's the state where it's the sunshine state. Everybody wants to come here, they want a vacation, and homeowners want to take advantage of that. You have property owners that have their primary residence and want to rent out their property. The problem is the Florida statute says that if you rent out your property for more than 30 days after January 1st, then it's considered abandonment and you will lose your homestead tax exemption. So those that want to do Airbnb, short-term rentals for snowbirds that come down from up north, and they want to rent out their property for a couple of weeks, couple of months, you run the risk of losing your tax exemption, paying higher taxes. In some counties, you may even have to pay back taxes if they find out that you've been doing this for a long time. And in some cases, they may even put a lien on your property. So it's a little risky if you have a primary residence and you want to rent out your property for more than 30 days. You can only rent out your property as a primary residence for 30 days in a calendar year after January 1st within 2 years. I'll give you an example. If you rent out your property, say after January 1st, you rent it out for 2 weeks in February and 2 weeks in March, you can't rent it again after 2 years. So 2 years would have to go by before you can rent it again. And this is the Florida law. So I know what some of you guys are thinking. Well, how can I get caught? I can rent it out. I can do Airbnb. I'm not going to get caught. No one's going to know that I'm renting it out. Well, and the property appraiser, obviously, it's a big undertaking to try to regulate and monitor all those who renting their primary residence for greater than 30 days. That's a huge undertaking, but they're actually doing it. They're doing a lot of investigations, and you'd be surprised how they get tipped off. That angry neighbor of yours that's complaining about your tenants, all they have to do is go to the property appraisers and tell them, hey, my neighbor has been renting out that place and I'm pretty sure that's their primary residence. And that's one way they can get tipped off. Another way they can find out is if you're on any of these platforms like Airbnb, HomeAway, and you pay a tourism tax. There's a tourism tax that you have to pay when you rent out your property to someone that wants to come from another state or locally or wherever. You pay a tourism tax. And the property appraiser can investigate and see if everyone that's paying tourism tax, are they paying it on their primary residence? And if they are they renting it for more than 30 days in a calendar year or more? So there are a lot of ways that they can figure it out. Obviously, we know people are doing it and not getting caught, but that doesn't mean that they won't get caught. Do you want to risk losing your homestead exemption on your primary residence? I probably wouldn't. I would just get an investment property or a second home. I wouldn't want to risk that chance because you do save a lot of money on your primary residence with that homestead exemption. That's just something to think about. So that was one of the questions that I got from a friend that asked if they can rent out their property and still keep their homestead exemption. And the answer is no. Obviously, we know people are doing it, but if you get caught, you can lose your homestead exemption, pay higher taxes, and possibly get a lien. The only people who are exempt from this are military members who serve in the military. They have an exemption because they're military, they're on duty. They're exempt from this law or this rule. And if you want more information on this rule, I've put some links in the description so you can check out the Florida statute on the Florida homestead tax exemption. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. I got many more like this to come. Make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later.